Hi, how are you? Amanda, Seint Artist. We're gonna do our makeup. I'm breaking it down. Where do these colors go? I hear the questions. Where the heck do these colors go? On your face. So I'm gonna break this down. So when you decide you wanna try Seint Makeup, which is all cream-based 3D foundation, I just need a makeup-free selfie. Stand inside, look out a window a couple steps back and take your picture. Send it to me. I need to see your main tones, your light tones, your shadow tones. I need to see them, and I'll send you this laundry list of overwhelming things. The first 4 colors are this setup right here. Your main foundation, your brightening foundation, your contour foundation, and your lip and cheek foundation. And when it's 3D foundation, that's why I said foundation with every color here. Everything here is foundational coverage. And that's why this is different. That's why there's a learning curve to it. So don't worry. You're either going to put on too little or too much makeup. And it's okay because it's makeup. It washes off. And this is makeup. This is fun. Makeup should be fun. This isn't a workout. This is makeup. So I'm going to go in. I'm going to use the blush and bronzer brush because it's one of the first brushes I recommend because you can get it in the collection with bronzer where you buy the brush and you get bronzer for $4 in the collection. It's a savings of $10. So to me, this is the basic setup. A palette 8, your 4 colors, and a bronzer. To me, that is a starter kit because you're saving $10. If you want a second brush, I always recommend the detail brush. I like this little end for getting in under the eyes for light application, but I like this side for getting in. You could do straight lines, getting into those cheekbones. This is a great second brush. This is a great all over brush. Every brush can be used solely on its own. These are what I started with, so these are what I recommend people to start with, and that's how this works. All right, let's talk about where everything goes. So the first color I'm going to go into is my main foundation. This is going to be the truest tone to my skin. I'm going to go in with the blush and bronzer brush, and I'm going to tap. We don't wipe, we tap, because you'll end up picking up too much product. You can see it's just on the tips of the bristles. I'm going to put this on the lower part of my jaw, almost like the beard. And I'm going to bring this up over my discoloration, and I'm going to bring this to my chin and go under. I'm going to leave this part open. And I'm just going to bring this to my creases. And creases, I mean my smile crease and my nose crease. I'm moving it there, and I'm just going to blend this out, and I'm just going to even the skin tones right here. This is when you'll probably apply too much makeup. This is where. And so this is all you need. You don't need to bring it all the way up. We're not covering our whole face in one color. This is the truest tone, and this is where I'm balancing out my skin. Now, if you've put too much makeup on, you take this fluffy magic end and you stipple over it, and you can stamp and you can pick it all up. It's okay. It's okay to put on too much product. If you have a beauty blender, I know e.l.f. has a good one. Seint has a nice one. Any beauty blend, a beauty blender is a beauty blender is a beauty blender. I don't care what anybody says. Get it wet, squeeze out as much moisture as you can. You can stipple over it and pick up excess also. All right, going to the other side, tapping in to my main foundation, and I'm gonna go right down here on the lower part of my jaw, below the shadowing of my cheekbone, and I'm gonna bring this down towards that chin, covering that discoloration, bringing it up, covering this discoloration, and I just tap as I go and as I need. And I'm not coming all the way over. I'm leaving this mid empty because that's where your brightening goes. So this is the only place. I'm going to add one more little spot. I'm going to tap onto the edge, tap, 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 a little bit onto the edge, and I'm going to go across like a rainbow arch right here from point to point. Just going to go across, and I'm just going to blend it out. That's it. Just this weird little mid area, and this is going to help bring everything together when we add our brightening. All right. That's as much main foundation as I'm going to need. It's just right there. Flip it to the fluffy end, pick up any excess if you need to. If you have a blemish, if you have discoloration or anything, wait to the end to cover it. Don't try to cover it at the beginning because you'll put too much makeup on and accentuate that texture. All right, we're moving on to the next color, which is brightening. I'm going to go to my detail brush on the little end here. I'm going to tap it onto the little end, tapping it on. And I'm going to go between my brows, and I'm going to make a little circle just like that. And then I'm going to come down my nose. I'm going to come onto my Cupid's bow to highlight my Cupid's bow. And then that chin area that I left alone now has brightening. And this is giving me structure and dimension. Your brightening is going to go on like a lowercase t. Goes down the middle and across under the eyes. So I'm going to pick some more up, tapping. And I'm going to start below that trough. Everyone has a trough. You start below and you work it up And you just fill in this little area here. Just right here. I don't know if you've noticed, but my dog is visiting me in the office. All right, adding a little more, and I'm gonna pop it right up here. We don't need to cover our entire under eye. It's a soft tissue, and it can easily be textured, so less is more. Less is more. All right, I've applied my brightening, and that's all I need to do. I'm gonna switch back to this brush. I'm gonna throw it around like it's a baton and pick it back up. And then I'm gonna tap it. Tapping, stippling, it's whatever you want. You can use a beauty blender, but I like using the brushes. I feel like it doesn't take product off, it moves it. So I'm just tapping this into that main highlight that I had put across right here. I'm gonna tap down my nose and give it a little blend. I'm gonna go right here and I'm blending this into that main highlight. So what I've done now is I've given myself foundational coverage with dimension, especially right here. You can see my Cupid's bow is highlighted. It looks like it's reflecting light and it's pretty. It's pretty. So all I've done here is balance my skin tones and given it dimension without having to stack. Stacking causes texture. All right, we're gonna go into contour. I'm gonna leave my under eyes to the end and I'll explain why then. I'm gonna go to the big end of my detail brush. Okay, contour, it's a scary tile. It's dark, it's scary. This works a lot like your brightening highlight. So my brightening highlight is a shade or two lighter than my skin tone. You can tell right here, this is not my skin tone, but this reflects light, brings brightness. It's gonna make me look more awake. So contour does the opposite of that. This is going to add shadowing. It's going to accentuate shadows. We have shadowing on the sides of our forehead. We have natural shadowing on our nose, our cheeks, our jaw. We have shadowing and all we're doing is accentuating that. I want you to over apply. It goes against everything I've been saying in the beginning. Don't be scared of your contour is all I'm saying. So tap into it and you can put this on the side of your forehead. Now the shape of your face determines where your contour goes. If you have one of those beautiful foreheads where you have a lot more real estate, you can go all the way across. I focus mine on the sides because I don't have that. But you can put it on and I want you to over apply it. I want you to see where it is. Okay? Then use little circles and you can blend it out and you can blend it down. So while it looks really scary, you get to blend this down to your heart's content. You can blend this until you don't see it anymore. And that's why I want you to put it on a little heavier than you normally would, because blending this down is going to take away that texture that you're scared of creating, but it's going to give you this warm dimension of accentuating the shadow. I have foundational coverage, one layer of makeup on my forehead. That's it. Push it into your hairline and you're good. That's where your contour goes on your forehead. It goes across the top or hanging on the top sides. Again, depends on your forehead. Let's do our nose. A lot of people don't understand the nose. Contour goes on as an 11. So you're gonna wanna stamp this on the top side, okay? Top side, and then I push it down. Bring it down. It doesn't have to be perfect. It does not have to be perfect. Same thing on the other side. We're making an 11, 2 lines, and I like to stamp it down. And then I'm going to put some right here. And this just gives my nose, do you see how it just structures it out? I have a little bump here, so I like the stamping method more. Okay, I'm gonna take this end right here, and I'm gonna push this up into my brow because our shadowing naturally goes there. And so I'm just pushing that in. And then we're gonna stamp and we're gonna blend this out. I'm gonna use my finger here in a minute after I've stamped this out a bit. I'm gonna push into that brightening I put down the middle of my nose, and this is gonna give a natural blend between the brightening and the contour, okay? And you get to blend this again down to wherever you want it. If you're worried you have product on your brush, just wipe it on your hand. Or a towel, or your kid. And just stamp this down until it's where you want it. Don't bring it over. You want that structure. And it just mimics the shadow. Trust the process. If you're ever like, this is looking terrible, stop and just say, trust the process. Trust the process. Okay, I look weird right now, but I'm gonna trust the process. All right, we're gonna go back into our contour on that edge again. We're gonna stamp it in and we're gonna accentuate the shadows of our cheekbones. Now this can accentuate your cheekbones, lift your cheekbones. It can do whatever you want. I'm gonna go just above my shadow and I'm gonna hug the edge of my cheekbone here. I'm gonna start at the top of the ear. Now you can do this 2 ways. you could easily put this on your finger and you can go and draw a line. You could absolutely do that. Do not come in past the outer corner of your eye, or you could take what's on the brush and you can push it. Either way, it's the same result. And then we're going to keep this brush at an angle and we're going to kind of flick up. Just kind of, you know, like when you're sweeping and you're like, sweeping sand. I live at the beach. Okay, just flicking up. Same thing over here. We're just pushing and we're at an angle, pushing into that cheekbone and we're flicking up. This is accentuating the shadow and it's adding dimension. Look at that. I'm under blending this. I'm not scared of my contour. Don't be scared of your contour. Again, you can always blend it down. Okay, I'm going to take what's left on my brush and I'm just going to pull this down my jaw. I push in front of my earlobe and down to give structure. A lot of people like to take a stick contour or whatever and they draw this big number 3. That's a lot of product and that's going to add texture. It's going to accentuate some things. With Seint, you can just put it in the areas you want, blend it, and bring it to where you need. It's the same concept, less product. Less product is key with Seint. All right, we've put that on. I've gone through all 3 of these colors. And now we're going to go on to our blush. I'm going to go to my blush and bronzer brush. This is Pink Grapefruit. Putting it on, and I'm going to come just above that contour. I have no makeup right here. This is my foundation. And I'm going to put this right here, and I'm going to put it over here too. And it's this really pretty pink. I like to drape mine up and down. Draping it up and down. And remember, if you put too much on, because I'm a little bright, just grab that fluffy end and look at that. That's what I mean with the fluffy end. You don't even need to apply any product, but you just put this on and you're just going to blend this down and it blends down your contour. And that's why I say under blend your contour. Don't be scared of it because it does get extra blending. Okay, let's talk about the under eye, okay? I'm going to go back to the small end. I'm just going to wipe off any excess I have. I'm going to take this small end and I'm going to push this over, okay? Now I put that pink on and this is going to help rein it back if I ever, sometimes I get a little crazy with my blush. And so by doing my eyes last, I can push it down and I'm just going to flip it to the big end and I'm just going to marry those 2 colors together. And it just adds brightness. It gives my eyes some lift, but this brightness makes me look a little bit more youthful around my eyes. I mean, I'm 41, so I'll take all the help I can get. And I'm just bringing this up and this is the brightening on that lowercase t line. And by just moving them together, you're blending this out to make it thinner and you're bringing it down and it's giving you lightness, brightness. But because we only did those 2 spots, by bringing it over, it thins it out because less is more and you're not accentuating all the fine lines. I mean, I have fine lines under my eyes, so I don't want to accentuate them. I don't want the product to sink in and crease. So by using less, you get more results. Less is more. All right, so this is where you can take a look at your face and you could say, does anything need attention? Did I over apply anywhere? If you did, you take this fancy fluffy end and you just go over any areas. You can even just go over your whole face and you can pick up product. You can sweep that lightness out and give it a final marrying on your forehead. Pick up any excess product, blend it around on your nose, and give yourself a nice, flawless finish. I like just tapping this all over and it just gives everything a nice squish together. It's like all your makeup colors are hugging. Okay, let's talk about coverage. So I have a little pimple here and it needs just a skosh coverage. So I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to pick up a little bit, even that might be too much. And I'm going to tap it on my pimples that need help. And this is when I give the coverage that needs coverage. If I did it at the beginning, I would have cakiness where it doesn't need to be. All right, let's talk about, oh, I want more blush. Who knew? I'm going to add a little more. I'm going to smile so I can see the apples, and I'm just going to add a little more pink because I like to see my blush. Makes me feel good. Makes me feel good. And I'm hanging this down towards the bottom of my cheeks, not the whole thing. All right, let's talk about winter skin. Holy moly. Winter skin is pale, dull. We miss being warm and tan. So what do? We get bronzer. So here's what you do to warm things up. My neck and my chest are always lighter than my face. So what I do is I take the fluffy end and I'm going to tap it into my bronzer. And I have this little old lady line, but I stay on the top part of my neck and I'm going to blend it. and I'm blending it all the way up right here. And this is going to bridge things together, pull down, and doing that. Okay, let's go to the short end, the denser end. I'm going to pick up a little bit. This is creamy, so a little goes a long way. I'm going to take it and I'm going to put a stamp there, and I'm going to come on my high point here, and I'm going to put it right here. You can see it. These are the only 4 places that my bronzer goes in my neck. But right here on my face, this is it. This is where I put it. Then I'm going to flip it to this fluffy end, and I'm going to blend it. I'm going to blend it out because I want it all over. I want to feel how warm it is without turning my face into an Oompa Loompa. Now you can use tan lines if you're fair skinned and do the same thing. If you have darker skin than me, you can use heat waves. It's whichever bronzer you want. But I'm just taking this and then I'm just going to move this around with whatever's left on it from blending. And that's going to warm up your skin, and you can warm it up as much as you want. I'm going to take my setting spray. I use Charlotte Tilbury because I have oily skin. And you're going to set your face. And that's placement for what I consider the basic setup. Your 4 colors and a bronzer. If you have questions, comment below. I'm here for all of it. But this is placement. This is easy. This is broken down 1 color at a time. Have a great day.